Hey guys, welcome. This is Coach MJ here, TriRight Coaching, and I am so sorry that I missed you all last week. Had a little bit of a puppy emergency, but tonight I am here to make it up to you, and I'm going to talk to you about training for a late season Ironman, because if you are, especially if you're here in the Midwest, it's now September. And many of your friends are done with training for triathlons, Ironmans, whatever they're training for. The season's done for them, right? But you still have to keep going because your race is coming up. So tonight's episode is dedicated for some tips on how to help you be better prepared to do an Ironman in a later season. So, hey Wes, hey Jim, thanks for hopping in. Real quick, I just wanted to tell you about why I wasn't here last week. So many of you know I am a foster parent, and I had this puppy adopted last Sunday morning, and they said he was 4 months, I think he's younger, and he got adopted, and this lady complained about him every chance she got. So on Monday afternoon, I just messaged her and said, hey, how's the puppy doing? And she had a list of complaints. And finally I just said, hey, you want me to come pick him up? She said yes. And she was 90 minutes away. So I opted to skip the video to go save that puppy. And I don't regret my decision. So sorry I wasn't here last week. Hey, Lilia. Hey, Eric. Hey, congratulations on your big shoulders. I can't wait to talk to you about it. Hey, Susie. Welcome. So tonight's episode is to train for a late season Ironman. And I guess that could go for triathlon too, but triathlons, is particular here in the Midwest, they're kind of done mid-September and September because the water gets really cold, y'all. It's really cold. So I wanted to talk to you about how you can do it even if you are training for a late season Ironman or race. Hey, Lisa, welcome. Thanks for hopping in. All right, sorry, I'm still getting over a cold. But if you want to, okay, this week, let me just tell you what my giveaway this week is. Because we're talking about a late season Ironman or a late season race. I'm giving away, well, this is just one of them, but toe covers for your bike shoes. So these things, you guys, they have saved me from many a ride. So these things go over your bike shoes. You just clip them over the top of your bike shoe. And your cleat goes in here. And this is going to help keep you warmer on your cold weather rides. And if you're like me and your fingers and toes get cold really fast anyway, one of my little tips is to take a hand warmer and tape it to the top of your bike shoe, right? So it'd be right here, right? And then you take your bike shoe and flip it in here. And now you've got the toe cover and you got a hand warmer right up in here so your toes stay nice and toasty for your ride. What do you mean, Lilia, you never win? I think you won and you didn't claim it, so it's gone now. But this is this week's giveaway. So all you have to do to be entered in the raffle for these toe covers is to share this video. And not many of y'all are doing it. So I please ask everybody, please share the video. All right. So let's go. Avoid peaking too early. This is one of the biggest things I see, because here's what happens, you guys. So we're locked up, we're cooped up all winter in our biking, sometimes treadmill. A lot of us just run outside no matter what. But especially our biking, we're locked up inside all winter. So as soon as it gets nice out, so that might be April, May, June, you'll see all these Ironman, and most of the time it's first time Ironman, but I've seen others do it. Start doing these 70, 80, 90, 100-mile rides in June when your race is in September. Big mistake. Big mistake. I don't care that it's nice out. I mean, that's great. That's all good and fun. Get your normal ride in and go do other things outside. But when you start doing long rides like that early in the season, if you're not a super experienced athlete or you step it down quite a bit, when you do rides like that, all you're doing is making it so that you peak early. And so I will see so many Ironman athletes who, particular for today, which is Ironman Wisconsin, whoop, whoop, we got a lot of people out there racing and they're doing so great. I will see so many people train for Ironman Wisconsin and they're doing these 80, 100-mile rides, century rides in June, then they are feeling really great towards the end of July and beginning of August. And then before September comes, they're like, I don't want to ride my bike anymore. Yeah, because you started too early. So that's what you want to make sure you do. Avoid peaking too early. Okay, that's what you want to do. All right, the next step is to start with the end in mind. So how do you avoid peaking too early? Here's what you got to do. And I've talked about this before. If you're not working with a coach or following some online program, whatever you pick, what you have to do is take your race date. So let's just say Ironman Wisconsin. Today's the race date. You work backwards. You work it backwards and you figure out when those long rides are supposed to be. And I guarantee you, anybody with any amount of research is going to learn that June is not when you are supposed to do those long rides. Your time is better spent in May, June, July, they start picking up. But like, it's better spent doing shorter rides, more focused rides, targeting in on trying to build your FTP than it is to going out and just doing the distance. It's more about quality than it is quantity, if that makes any sense. Hey, Bob. Hey, Candace. Hey, Carrie. Bob, where you been, dude? I think this is the first video you've ever been on, so thanks. So start with the end in mind. Oh, and if you want to get this week's bonus, so if you don't want to take any notes or write anything down, all you have to do is go to TriRightCoaching.com/bonus. And I took all of these points and I mapped out like what you really should be doing, what you really should be thinking of when you're doing a late season Ironman. So it's a lot. I mean, I'm talking about a lot of it tonight, but who really wants to sit and take notes on a Sunday night? So all you have to do is download the PDF, and you can have this at your disposal and read it whenever you want. Okay. Hey, Seda, welcome. So start with the end in mind. Make sure that you take the race and work backwards from it. This week, last week's winner. Didn't I want to talk about last week's winner? Right? Last week's winner was these paddles. Oh, and it wasn't last week. It was 2 weeks ago because I was saving a puppy last week. Because the puppies are more important than y'all. Sorry, no, they're not. Just as important. You guys are equal. But you weren't in the hands of, what is their name, Jim? Cruel Devella? Whatever you called her. Lady was a nut job. I saved that puppy. Okay, so paddles. Jennifer W. Girl. I'm not going to send these to you because you just need to contact me and I'll get these to you. But you won the paddles, and that was not last week, 2 weeks ago. And then this week, if you want to win these toe covers, which are awesome, awesome, awesome for cold weather rides. Because if any of you know me, well, a lot of you guys have known me, and I haven't been riding in for a while. But when I did, I get cold easy. So I needed to make sure that my hands and toes were extra, extra covered. So you take your shoes, you take your toe covers. These go right over your bike shoes, and then this is where your cleat goes, right? And you put a little toe warmer or a hand warmer up here. You're good to go. You're good to go. And then you don't ever have to complain about your feet being cold and make it stop you from a ride. I did I did a 100-mile ride one time, you guys, when I was training for Ironman Arizona. I did a 100-mile ride. It was 30 degrees outside. 30. I just had that setup going. Toe covers with a hand warmer up there. My feet were fine. So Cruel DeVille, that's her name, Lisa. Thank you. That's what Jim called her because the lady was crazy. Anyway, okay. Just share this video if you want to be entered in the raffle for these awesome, awesome toe covers. They are by Hube. All right. Was that upside down? No, it wasn't. It's just backwards in the video. All right. So the third thing is plan for the weather. And here's a tough thing, you guys, because when we talk about training for your races, we talk about wearing in your training what you plan on wearing for your race, what you plan on wearing for your event. But what's really hard about that is, let's say you're doing an event in, say, November, like Ironman Florida, Ironman Arizona. You might not be wearing what you would be wearing here in the July, August time frame. You won't be wearing here what you'd be wearing there. So that might be a little difficult. Although, gosh, Florida is always like low 70s and Arizona is usually like low 70s. So if you can plan for that, I like my athletes to do race day rehearsals. Plan to wear what you plan on wearing in the race on the race day, and then eat and drink what you plan on eating and drinking on race day. So that's kind of hard. But what you have to do is plan for the weather. So if your race is going to be a little bit cooler than maybe what is here, you have to kind of measure that out. You have to figure out what works for you. What works for you on an 80-degree day is not the same thing that's going to work for you on a 70-degree day. Okay? I know that sounds minuscule, but trust me, it's a big thing. And if it ends up being cooler than you're used to training in, you have to have options. And you can always shed things off, guys. But if you get out of that water and you're really cold, and you get on that bike and you're really cold, and it takes you 30, 40 miles to warm up, you're not going to do as well as if you had something to put on and you were warmer starting out. Again, you can always take stuff off during the race, but if you don't have extra layers and things to put on, then you're going to be shivering for a little bit. And I've had that experience too. It's not fun. It's cold. Carrie, you have no idea, girl. I did a half Ironman, and it was, I don't think it was like 48 or 49 degrees at the start. I sat in my car, in my wetsuit, in my car till the start. And then I got on the bike and I had all these things. I had gloves and like a headband and arm warmers and leg warmers. I had all these things set up in transition to go. And then I saw a girl pass me. When I got out the swim, I saw a girl pass me out onto the bike. And I was like, I don't have time to put all these clothes on. I just went. Oh, it was a cold, cold ride for me. And it rained the entire day. It was horrible. But you changed in both transitions in Louisville. Yeah, okay, so an Ironman. If you're doing a shorter race, you don't have that opportunity to actually fully change, okay? So you have to like take that into consideration. But if you're doing an Ironman, like Lisa mentioned, you have the opportunity to fully change. And I have done that too. So if it is cooler out, you probably don't want to keep your wet clothes on and just layer on top, because you're still going to be cold underneath. So if it's an Ironman, you might want to take that opportunity to take the wet clothes off, put all dry clothes on, and then go. It's going to cost you some time in transition, but you're going to be more comfortable, and you'll probably have a better ride and race for the remainder, because you were more comfortable and warmer. Really, really chill. When you're really, really cold, you just don't do as well. So, hey, George, thanks for hopping in. Okay, the next thing you want to do is to factor in for next season. And what does that mean? Okay, so like if you're going to do a late season Ironman, like November, right? Or December, there's some in December too. You probably don't want to back that up with an Ironman in May or June of next year. And so many people get so hyped up and so excited, and you know they're on their high after their race that they sign up for something. And that is a lot of time between, you know, November and June, right? But you have to take into consideration the recovery time that you need. And I'm going to say for an Ironman, 2-3 weeks, maybe even a month. That doesn't mean no activity, you guys. Rest doesn't mean you don't do anything. It means you back off of everything, and especially the run, because that's the thing that takes the biggest toll on your body. But once you back that down, you still have to build it back up. And you don't want to build it back up to the level that you were when you raced. You want to build it one step more. Okay? So you may want to plan in just some extra time in there to give yourself the time to take the rest and the relaxation that you deserve, because you just did your race. Then build up slowly, but put in extra time for you to get past the plateau or the level that you were at the place that you last raced. So make sure that you do that. And I think I did it once. I screwed it up. I did a late season Ironman, and then I did one. And I think I did November, and then I think I did June. Didn't go well. June didn't go well. Wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. It wasn't a great race. If I had to do it over again, I wouldn't have done June. I might have done, August, September, October. But those are the things you need to take into consideration. Hey, Nora. All right. If you want to be entered in the raffle for these toe covers, last time, not going to say it. All you have to do is share this video. Even if you're not watching live, and if you're watching on the replay, I don't pick the winner till like 2 hours before next week's video. So please share this video, and I'm going to enter you in a raffle for those toe covers. All right, last thing, to line up your training partners. And this is a big one. So, excuse me. So during the season, when we're all racing and we're all, working out and it's nice outside, it's relatively easy to find people to get out there and do those long runs and rides with you. But here's what happens. People get done with their season. They're done at the end of August. They're done at the end of September. And then they don't really want to do that long stuff anymore, whether that's the ride or the run. And, at least me personally, never wanted to do any of that by myself. I don't want to ride 100 miles anyway. Do I really want to ride it by myself? No, I want someone to go with me. So if you can't find someone else that's doing the race that you're doing, or a race in the general vicinity that's going to give you kind of the same, roughly the same mileage that you're doing, whether it's the bike or the run, what I recommend doing is you're putting in the bank when you train with those people earlier in the year and you ride with them. They'll be like, well, okay, when my big long rides come up at the late end of the season, will you do some of it with me? Don't ask them to do. If someone just did Ironman Wisconsin today and you're doing Ironman Arizona in the end of November, don't think that Ironman Wisconsin guy or girl is going to do 100 miles with you. They're done. They need a break. But what they could do is maybe 50 or 60 miles with you. So the key to it is to line up your training partners. So you get somebody to do the first half of it with you, and then have someone else meet you to do the second half. Same thing with the run. If I was going to do, say, 2 loops at Waterfall Glen. I'm sorry, for those of you who are not local, Waterfall Glen is like a 9.5 mile loop. It's I don't say very, relatively hilly, right? When people are done with their season, nobody wants to be doing 20-mile runs anymore, right? But you might be able to get some of those people to do half of it with you. Say somebody could do 1 loop with you, and then someone else can join in for the second loop. Or you could get someone to ride a bike with you when you're doing that run. Or you get somebody to just join in for part of that run. Because even if they don't do the whole thing with you, just those little spurts, those little bursts of people coming in and mixing it up and keeping you motivated is going to make for a much better training run for you. Jim, they can call you when you are on the bike. What? Hey, Dawn. Thanks for joining in. I'm not sure. Jim, see, okay, so when you type in comments, you guys, I think it's like, I don't know, a couple minutes before I actually see the comment, so I'm not really sure. But anyway, I know I spit out a lot of information here, but last call. Share the video to be entered in the raffle for this. Oh, next week's topic, 10 tips. Next week's topic is 10 tips for the off season, because majority of us are in the off season already. But just because you're in the off season doesn't mean you should stop everything. So my video next week will be on the top 10 tips for you to consider in the off season. I really hope that you hop in and watch. And please share this video if there's anyone that you know that might be interested or this would be helpful for them. Oh, and next week, you guys, 1 week from today is the TriRight 101 ride. I know this is backwards. The TriRight 101 ride. Proceeds go to breast cancer research. All you have to do is sign up. You go to active.com, search TriRight 101. We start and end in Lincoln Way West. There are 4 routes, 25, 45, 65, and 101 miles. We have lots and lots of great food for you at the finish, well-stocked SAG stops, and SAG vehicles traveling the route throughout the day to pick you up if you have any mechanicals. It's a great ride. I hope to see many of you out there. So thank you guys so much for spending a little bit of your Sunday evening with me. I hope you found this information helpful, and I will see you next week when we talk about the top 10 tips in the off season. So thank you so much for joining in, you guys, and I'll see you next week.